Hey, everybody, Apple services are down. Can we panic now? Apple TV subscription services slated for next year, assuming services can stay up. An Apple event is proof positive that a tree can grow there, and the iPhone 10R pre-order sells out in 4 days. 4 days tonight. And so much more on the Mac to the Future Go Livecast. Yes. It is the Mac to the Future Livecast. I am one of your hosts, Guy Searle. And I got to say, this has been the first Mac to the Future in a long time where I feel like I'm actually prepared. I don't really know what I can say about that, other than to say, hello, Mr. Warren, how are you? I meant to do that.
Oh, all right.
Apparently, hey. I wasn't ready. There we go.
What?
You're live in Guatemala.
I'm live from Guatemala.
We got to change that. We have to come up with some new thing.
Maybe I am still in Guatemala.
Well, you could be in Guatemala. So, I told you before we got started that I'm wearing my headphones. And actually, you know what? Number one, we should discuss the elephant in the room. There's a couple of elephants. The first elephant is that there wasn't a show last week.
Oh, yeah.
Because I could barely talk. I was coughing like crazy. I actually had a couple days off from work. I was I don't know what, some kind of creeping crud came over me.
You know what the funny part about that is the week before that when we did this show.
Yeah,
you're like, I got a little tickle in my throat.
Yeah, I know.
I was getting sick.
Foreshadowing. It was foreshadowing. And hello, Damon Thornton. How are you this evening? So nice that you could join us tonight. Yes, hello, Shadow. My wife is out of town, so unlike most evenings or most Wednesdays when I do this show, I don't have the door closed, so I may be interrupted by cats at one point or another during the show. I actually have our old girl here in my lap. Right here. This is Shadow.
Wait, are we showing animals off?
We are.
You didn't tell me. You didn't warn me about this. Charlie.
She's about 13 years old.
Charlie, get your furry ass over here.
She's a good kitty.
That's not a pet. This is a pet. Oh my god.
Yeah, he looks so happy to be. He looks almost as happy as Shadow did being on the show. He does not have a happy look on his face. I'm a dog.
All right.
Hey, John Kreisler is with us also. All right. Yeah. It was sad. Now the other elephant in the room is I'm wearing headphones. Now, if you recall.
Are they elephant headphones?
They are elephant headphones. They do make me have big ears.
Elephants.
It's a hell of a phone. Ooh, that was bad. Now, if you recall the last show, I did have, as Warren does right here, I had AirPods, and so I wasn't wearing these big things. Unfortunately, something happened last Sunday, which means that I don't. Yes, hello, Shadow. I don't currently have access to my AirPods. Now, what happened? I think I mentioned before. My brother Norman has a wife. His wife Marisa has a 2008 20-inch iMac, very, very old. The hard drive on it is getting ready to die. It has hundreds of bad sectors, which is not a good sign. So last Sunday, the plan, and my wife and my son Guy went with me, was to because he had. All right, here's the thing. Last year, he bought his wife a 21.5 inch iMac, brand new, at the base commissary because he's former Air Force. And there it sat. There it has sat for a year.
It's crazy.
It still had the tape on the box.
Why? So tell me why.
His wife.
Tell me what this has to do with your headphones.
His wife fears change. She doesn't like change, which is why she still had a 2008 20-inch iMac.
Because that makes all the sense in the world.
Right. Because but with the hard drive dying, and they asked me when I first realized this was happening, well, would it be, should we just replace the hard drive? And I was like, no. This is not a machine that is worth spending a single dime on. Just let it go.
Right.
So I went, myself and my wife and my son Guy Jr., we went to my brother's house where he made these ridiculously huge steaks, and they were quite tasty, to replace his wife's iMac with this new one. So what I had asked him to do, I knew that he had a hard drive that had a carbon copy cloner backup. So the plan was get there, do one last backup, and then connect the hard drive to the new machine and do Migration Assistant to get all of her stuff onto the new computer.
And then your AirPods got sucked into the computer.
No, not quite.
Okay.
But I did. I had my AirPods. I had I had my iPad Pro. I had all kinds of stuff in a small bag that I always take with me, kind of my travel bag. Excuse me. Ugh. And I started the backup. It recorded a grand total of about 15 gigs of information, new, that hadn't been done since the last backup. This took 6 hours. With all
Almost
the
like the
bad sectors on this drive.
Yes.
It was going crazy trying to find and reconfigure all these files.
Right.
Well, by the time it finally did it, it was like after 6 o'clock, and he lives about 2 hours away, and I had to work the next day. So it's like, I'm not going to start a Migration Assistant now because God only knows how long it was going to take. And honestly, she's got a grand total of about 125 gigs of stuff on her current iMac. So it probably wouldn't have taken that long, but with the weirdness of the backup with the bad sectors and everything else, it was like, I don't want to get sucked into this and then, not be able to leave until 11 o'clock at night. So I left, and I left the bag that had the iPad and the AirPods and everything else. So
that's the story. Okay.
That's the story.
So you went to go fix somebody's computer and you left your bag there.
I left all my stuff there.
Yeah, you went to go transfer.
So I'm going again this Sunday to
Right.
do the actual transfer of information and get my stuff back.
So I do IT work, and I've left my bag once or twice. I had to go back, and that's embarrassing. But the worst thing I ever did was I went down to South Jersey. I live here in Pennsylvania.
Mhm.
About an hour and a half drive, I guess. Maybe an hour, whatever, with traffic, a little bit more. And while I was there, the customer asked me to hook up her iPhone to her Bluetooth in her car. All right, walked out, did her car, hooked up to Bluetooth. Went back.
Did her car waka waka? No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Waka. Came back. Anyways, everything went great. Drove home. Get home. I got a million things to do. My son needs things, and she calls me and she's like, "You have my car key."
Oh.
Yeah.
So no, that you had a choice. You had to go back.
I had to go. Yeah, she needed her car. She was stuck at work. I actually fixed it at her office too. So she was. Stuck at her office.
Man, she must have not been happy.
No, I mean, she didn't. She was upset. She wasn't upset. I was upset. So I guess I had to go back. But
Okay. All right. Well, then let's jump over to the stories.
Oh.
The first one, a lot of Apple services went down. There was no explanation given as to why it happened, though they were all resolved. And this was on Tuesday. Nearly half of Apple services, including nearly every service associated with iCloud. Now, did you hear any reason why this happened? And did it affect you at all?
So the only thing I noticed, and it was weird, was I have iCloud. I have iCloud Music Library on my phone.
Yeah.
Turned on, and I also have a 256 gig phone. So I download my entire library. I create a playlist on iTunes called All, and I put all my music in there. And then on my phone, if I go into the playlist All, I could click on it and say download. So it downloads all my phone. So I have all my music on it. That's iCloud Photo Library. I go look at my phone, and iCloud Music Library is off, and I only have a few songs. And I'm like, that's odd. So I turn back on the music library, and I go to download everything again. And I would say 98% of the songs downloaded, but there was probably about 10 or 15 songs that just said it wasn't available. And I knew it was available because I just had it. So that's the only thing.
But you couldn't get to them.
Maybe something. Maybe the 15 songs were on a server that went down, and the rest of my music was on a healthy server.
So you're to blame.
That's right. I had to download my 31 gigabytes of music to my iPhone.
And that broke everything.
The server said, "I can't do anymore. No more ABBA. I just can't. No, you can't have your Mamma Mia anymore." That's the story. So. But other than that, I didn't notice.
But you still had all the boy bands though, right? That was still native on the phone.
I do.
Okay.
I have the back streets. I got the up streets. Got the G streets.
First degree. I don't know. I don't know.
I got One Directions, the Two Directions, the All Directions. I got them all.
The No Directions.
I got no directions. No directions. Just it's a band that just stares into space. And we don't know. Do we sing? What do we do?
We sing, we dance.
I don't know.
We kind of just.
But no, I didn't notice a thing. So I didn't hear anything, and I didn't notice a thing, which is actually kind of strange because I again fix other people's computers and nobody called or texted me, and I would, my mom would be like the first one to like call me and say that I broke something when something went down like that. So,
well,
it was fine.
I know that I'm usually signed into iCloud at work, so like at lunchtime and times like that, I can go in and do some writing. And I noticed that on Tuesday, I couldn't sign in, and because I had other stuff going on, it was like, okay, I'll try it later, and I forgot about it. But it wasn't until I started looking at stories for the show for this week that was like, I see, said the blind man. And that was kind of what happened.
Yeah, and our Facebook page didn't really mention much, and usually people would post, like, I'm in all these Apple groups, and I didn't see many or any posts, so I don't know.
It was down for at least 4 or 5 hours, as I recall.
Yeah, but I think it was a very small section of people who were down, so... so I don't think it was a major outage. But you know what? We got to blame the Russians.
Well, of course.
Sure they did.
Of course.
Did you see the story about the Russian Samsung ambassador? So
no.
She's no, really?
No, I did not.
There's this woman in Russia that is the
yes. Okay, yes. Go ahead.
She's
a
brand ambassador for Samsung, and she's been caught using her iPhone. And
they got fired.
They fired her and sued her for $1.6 million. So my joke is you got to blame the American hackers.
That had to be it. That had to be it.
Because that's our fault now over there.
Okay.
Well,
next story. Whoops. Come on. Stop that. There we go. Big rumors of Apple TV subscription service coming out next year to launch in over 100 countries. It's supposed to be if you have an Apple TV, this is what the rumor said, that if you have an Apple TV, all of Apple's homegrown content will be included at no charge. That's what they're saying. And then there, what are you doing? Okay, cat is gone. That there will be charges of various degrees for different bundles or different networks, something along those lines. So I don't know. What I got here is on the heels of the widespread service outage, there were reports of Apple finally releasing a subscription service next year. As reported in over 100 countries, the report states original content from Apple will be included for free with other networks available at a cost. Now, have you cut the cord, or are you still on a cable system?
I haven't cut the cord, and I have every streaming box that's out there. But I use the Apple TV a lot too. So I have the 4th gen non 4K Apple TV that I've been using. And I like it, but we talked about cutting the cord, and it's not there yet. It's still not there yet. It's too risky. And the only thing that comes close maybe is YouTube TV, because I think they have the most amount of channels.
Yeah, they've got I think like a 40 to 50 channel stack.
With local, which is the thing.
But so. the one thing that kind of, because I mean I don't have any of the movie channels. I used to follow some series on AMC, the American Movie Classics, like Walking Dead, stuff like that. But I don't really watch that anymore.
Right.
There's not a whole lot on regular TV that I watch that I don't already just buy a season subscription to.
Well,
so
you could get like subscriptions to HBO and Showtime without cable.
Yeah.
I started binging. I've had a lot of time, so I binged a few shows so far. Right now I'm watching Sneaky Pete, which is Amazon, which is good. I just finished The Good Place, which is on CBS. But
yeah. That's with Ted Danson.
Ted Danson.
Yeah. I saw the pilot episode for that.
It's good. That's good. Miss Maisel.
Didn't watch that.
I've watched the Jack Ryan. So I'm watching a whole bunch of things on either Amazon or Netflix. Mostly.
Right.
I get it. The only thing that's weird is we watch Get Shorty, which is with Ray Romano and the British guy or the Scottish guy.
Well, who's playing the John Travolta character?
Do you remember the movie Bridesmaids?
No, actually, I do not.
The IT crowd, the head guy from the IT crowd. Yeah, him.
He's well in the IT crowd he's Irish.
Yeah, but he's really Irish.
Yeah. Okay.
In this he's Irish too, but he plays that guy, and it's good. It's a good show. So anyways, I go back and forth between Netflix, Amazon,
right.
And we watch football, both of us, so that would be an issue, right?
Well, you can, I guess if you get a direct TV subscription, you can get NFL Live.
That's something else.
Well, and and that's that. See, this is what really pisses me off about the NFL is that as a Miami Dolphins fan, and living
tonight, by the way.
Yeah, I know. Living in the DC area, unless they're playing the Redskins or the Baltimore Ravens, I don't get any. That I will tonight because it's a Thursday night game. But it's only freaking regional games for the most part, or some marquee matchups.
Yeah.
But why can't I subscribe to my team, or why can't I subscribe, say, to the AFC East games and get those games?
Because the NFL
they sell the freaking rights to all of their games to everybody except individuals. It's like they're willing to throw out these licenses to DirecTV and all these other outlets.
I'm making a money hand sign because DirecTV has money, and if they sell their license
It
agreement.
freaking
that's
pisses
guaranteed
me
money.
off.
I know.
Bullshit.
So DirecTV
Sorry.
still does not have, I don't think, a just football the streaming football package. But if they do, I would consider that. The NFL has, if you live outside the United States, you can subscribe to the NFL package,
Yeah.
which I did when I lived in London. But once you're inside, you cannot do that. So it's bad. But anyways, back to Apple TV. So I think the one show that everybody's talking about is the Jennifer Aniston thing, and they just signed over the guy from The Office to do it.
I can't believe I can't. I almost said Jim Carrey, but that's not right.
No, but that's close.
Steve Carell.
Steve Carell, yes.
Yeah.
That's him. So he's going to be
Jim
doing that.
Carelli.
Jim Carell.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jennifer Aniston, did you see the
Were we?
Facebook Ross?
Yes, I did.
That was so good.
Oh, as soon as I saw it, I was like, "What? What did Ross do now? What did he do?"
So for those who haven't seen it, but it's out there if you search for it.
Oh, yeah, and it's not even in the United States. This was wasn't it in England?
UK. Yes,
Yeah.
in the UK. In the UK, the British police, the local British police, posted a picture of somebody stealing liquor who robbed a restaurant or something like that, and there's a video footage
Dead ringer
clip of him, doing, and it looked like David Schwimmer, like exactly like David Schwimmer. So the comments on the page they were just all over the place, like he
can't find work, man.
The life was going to be like this. Now he's stealing beer. It was just great. And then later that day, David Schwimmer posted a picture of him
in a similar pose, wasn't it?
With the exact same pose, saying, "It wasn't me. I'm stealing liquor in America
from this place."
From this place. So yeah, that was. A
for people that are currently watching, I don't know how many there are. If you've cut the cord, if you would go ahead and just put in how you did it, who you did it with, and what your takeaways have been on cutting the cords. Have you been able to get all the live sports and everything that you want to watch? And for me, that's actually most of it is just live sports, live sporting events, because I don't watch a lot of network TV. I still watch The Big Bang Theory, but I have a subscription to that. So as the new episodes come out, it just loads right into my Apple account.
Well, I was telling you before we joined, I watched Jeopardy and Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, that's right. Warren likes that stuff. Yeah.
So, yeah,
get off my lawn.
There's more commercial for medical diabetes commercials, and it's sad. It's just so sad.
Yeah. I'm waiting for the testosterone commercials. That's what I'm looking forward to.
There was one with Snoop Dogg. I don't know if you saw that.
Really? Snoop Dogg
did a male enhancement pill or something like that.
Well, of course he did.
He did.
That is so funny. All right. I think we are gonna take a little break, and when we come back, what have we got when we come back? We have
good stuff.
Hey, hello, Jelly. I have a cat here, another cat here, different cat. We have the October 30th event to talk about, and the iPhone XR, also that to talk about. So everyone, stop. The cat is yanking on my cord.
Everybody stop rubbing Guy's leg.
Yeah, that's just a bad thing. We'll be right back. This is Private Eye Macintosh, and I'm here to tell you about a book written about me and my search for the Maltese Cube. Yes, it's a fine book. I think you should get it. Quiet, you. It combines technology, Mac trivia, action, murder, suspense. Oh, just tell them where to get it. I'll get to that. Romance,
film noir detective fiction. I can't stand it anymore. It's called The Maltese Cube, and it was written by my Mac writer and podcaster Guy Searle. Find it on Amazon. It's only $2.99 and coming soon to the Apple's iBook store. Don't forget, it's The Maltese Cube and so inexpensive. You know you're not in it, right? I'm in the next one, right? Sure thing, Louis. You know, this could be the start of a beautiful friendship. Get The Maltese Cube on Amazon and soon in the iBook store.
Okay, we are back. This is Jelly.
Hello, kitty. Hello,
Doesn't
my
she-
precious.
Doesn't she look happy?
I'm telling you, get a real pet. That's not a real
This
pet.
this is like the happiest cat that I have ever owned.
This is my friend down there, the dog.
She's
Cat,
a real
I'm not
sweetie.
a cat person.
Oh,
Cats could. Nah, shit.
I've had cats almost all my life.
Nah.
Yeah, they're sweetie.
They're icky.
No, they're wonderful,
They're
wonderful
icky.
kitties. All right,
Try to kill
so
you.
thank God they're not big enough. We have an Apple. There's an Apple event on October 30th. With hopefully will be more treats than tricks. And as much as I despise two things: number one, analysts, and number two, Business Insider. I actually have. Oh, I forgot to hit the button. There we go.
Forbes is bad.
Yeah, they piss me off too.
Bloomberg's not on they're on the naughty list this year.
But this analyst from Business Insider that they love to quote says that Apple will release 2 new iPads that use USB-C instead of Lightning connectors, a new iPad mini, and a newly designed Apple Pencil. On the Mac side, he's saying a new low-cost MacBook Air replacement, a new iMac, and a new Mac Mini.
Right. But this isn't just some ordinary analyst. You know who he is.
Yeah, he's
He's
been-
Kuo. He's the man. He's the guy. He has ins. But
well.
so
Well, I
but
mean,
he's-
basically what he's doing is he's looking at supply chain contracts with Chinese companies.
right, and I'm sure he has a couple people that kind of work. I mean, he's got contacts.
Sure.
So nothing's going to be as accurate as the leak that came with the last event, because that was the actual slide from the event. But he's pretty good. I don't think we're going to get half of that, though. I think we'll get definitely 2 iPads.
Do you think they'll be using USB-C? You think they're going to start moving over?
It wouldn't be like shocking. It wouldn't be like
Honestly, it makes sense.
Yeah,
Apple is moving their. I mean, basically, most of their laptops are USB-C only now, and they're moving. Even they're adding more and more USB-C / Thunderbolt 3 connectors to the various iMacs. I don't think the iMac Pro even has regular USB. I think it's all USB-C and Thunderbolt, as I recall. But I could be
iMac
wrong.
Pro?
Yeah, the iMac Pro when it came out.
No, I think it has regular ports. But
Does it? Okay.
I don't know, but yeah, but with the light, I mean, I think Apple does feel that switching, ports.
Is inevitable.
Well, yeah, but people will complain because people have tons of Lightning
Sure.
accessories.
Sure.
That's not going to work, and maybe we'll need an adapter, or maybe it won't work at all. So it's a thing, it's not like
Yeah, but but the advantages so far outweigh the disadvantages. And yes, there will be a period of adjustment while people with Lightning accessories and all the rest of that have to switch over to USB-C. But the fact that this is the connector, the whole thing was, for the entire history of iPods and iPhones, the connectors that they had weren't the same as what was on Apple's laptops and desktops. So we are now at the point where this convergence of several different standards has gotten to the point where we're really looking at, in the future, having a single very, very high-speed connector that will enable you to have a relatively small desktop with things like excuse me, sorry.
No.
With things like graphics cards and more storage and all the rest of that, that's like
Maybe.
10 feet away in a closet someplace, and all you basically
because
have is a small box that has all the connections for it.
Yeah, but just because Apple might put a USB connector on the iPad doesn't mean it's gonna do all that stuff anyways. And
Well, no, I'm not talking about. I'm just talking as far as connectors go. This is a universal connector that, and you know what? I have to draw that back a little bit because the original iPod had a firewire connector, which the Macs also had. But ever since the 30-pin connector came out, which was basically right after they replaced the FireWire connector on iPods, you've had different connectors and required dongles of some kind or another to connect your iOS devices to computers. But now we're at the point where it's like USB-C to USB-C.
I mean, first of all devices and components had that. I mean, non-Apple devices have micro USB or mini USB or some other connector.
Honestly, that's all going away. That's all going to go away.
Right, but it's not like Apple was the only one. It's not like everybody was on the same standard, and Apple's like, yeah, screw you. There wasn't really a standard, and maybe now there is. But the other side of that is Apple doesn't want you connecting crap from your iOS device to your computer. They really don't want that to happen anymore. Really. They want you to not have to do that anymore because it was archaic, and it still kind of is. So there's not in theory, they want you to be able to have an iOS device without even owning a Mac or a computer, because you don't need it. You could get everything off the cloud.
Well, I mean, we're not that far from iOS devices capable of being your only computer, and in a lot of cases, it already can be.
But why do you need to hook up an iOS device to your computer at this point?
For people that have both, I'd say for quick and easy backups, that's one thing. If you want to,
iCloud is back. No. iCloud is that's
where they want you to go. But it's for a lot of people, they don't want to do that. They want to have a local backup. Same thing with their media. They want to have all of their songs or all of their movies or all of their books or whatever. They don't necessarily all want that in the cloud. They want to have access to that on their local devices, and whether it's their iOS devices or whether it's a Mac, and to be able to transfer between them.
But that could still be on the iOS device too. But they don't want, Apple tech support. Their geniuses are tired of listening to people saying, "Well, I had a backup on my Mac, and now it's it doesn't work. I can't restore it." Or I have files.
Is that how they sound? Is that how they sound when they do that?
They're all 85 years old, and that's how they sound, because that's what they want to do. Because Apple is sick and tired of troubleshooting.
Well, see, that's what I want to hear. I want to hear the tech support phone call. As soon as they start to talk, they're like, "Look, you ancient son of a gun. Stop. You just do exactly what I tell you. You go out, you get a new phone right now, okay? Don't get a Mac. Don't get it. Don't get.
Use your phone, turn on iCloud, back up to iCloud, use iTunes.
Do it now.
Music.
Now.
Do it now. Or don't call me about your 2008.
Your whiny little problems.
About your 2008 iMac that's got a bad hard drive.
That's got bad sectors.
So what your friends,
it's my sister-in-law.
Your sister-in-law, I'm sure, has some nice content on that. That was going to her 2012 iPod Touch or something.
Well, no, she's got a phone.
Yeah.
But
No, but you know what I'm saying. They really, really do not want you connecting an iOS device to a computer.
Okay, well, let me ask you this. Next thing.
Yes.
iPad mini. Do you think that that's even remotely possible?
Not
Why?
that many. I don't know. Maybe. Is it possible? Of course.
Sure.
I mean, they just have to build it.
But do you think there's a
technically
lot of
possible.
demand for it?
It's become almost like a cult hit. There's a lot of. It's almost like people want it because they can't have it, kind of thing. But are they going to really want it? I would buy it. I had a mini.
I wouldn't buy one.
I had an iPad mini. I sold it for a iPad Pro with some money that I need to provide. And I barely used the Pro, but I use the Mini all the time. The Mini is great. You can stick it in your bag. You can bring it. The big reason for the Mini is I would use it in bed, and I would read on that because yes, but you can't bring an iPad Pro into bed with you because the light shines into everybody's eyes. So the Mini is good for that. Now yes,
Okay.
people say is an iPhone Max pretty much almost as good as a mini. I don't think so. I think people want both.
Would
I
like
get both.
the slightly. It's only like an inch bigger at the last iPad mini screen size.
It's an inch and a half, man. What is it?
Yeah.
6.5. This is 6.5, and the last one is 7.9.
All right, so we're talking inch and a half. I mean, does it really make that much of a
Yeah.
difference?
It's just the same reason why some people are still buying the Air, a MacBook Air, or the 12-inch,
Okay.
MacBook, or the SE. They just want something small that they could stick in the bag. That seems to be that's a trend. I just want something I could stick in my bag. If somebody says it's something that I could stick in my bag, they want something light and small and probably even more so less worried about, if that makes sense. Like,
Well, what about this? You mentioned the MacBook Air. They're talking about a low cost MacBook Air replacement. Wouldn't it make more sense just to use the current MacBook design and just reduce that in price? Because I mean that's selling in volume now,
too.
and then just get rid of the MacBook Air altogether. I mean, no, you stay away from my water. You don't get to have my water.
No, well, and the differences, and there's two differences in there. One is the Air is 13-inch compared to the 12. But people don't like the MacBook because of it's got the mobile processor, it's got the lack of ports, things like that. I'm getting a drink. Continue on.
So, oh, that sounds lovely. That sounds lovely. They're also talking about an iMac, a new iMac, or at least iMac iMac spec bump.
Yep.
But to me, the one that is the most intriguing, even more than a newly designed Apple Pencil, is the Mac Mini, which has languished now for over 4 years. And from some of the things that have been said, like over the last year, they've made it sound like a newly designed Mac Mini could possibly bridge the gap between consumer and pro use, depending on how you want to configure it. So, to me, this tells me that we're looking at processors, everything from like a Quad i7 to possibly a 6 to 8 core or 6 to 9 core i9 with Thunderbolt 3 connectivity to go out to an external cage for more storage, better graphics cards, whatever it is that a pro would need. And if they do something like this, would there really need to be an actual Mac Pro? If they can fit and they showed that with the 2013 Mac Pro, that they can pack a lot of horsepower into a relatively small box, and that was 5 years ago. So
Let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. if they had the Mac Mini that they sell now, that looks exactly like the one that they sell now,
Mm-hmm.
that is configurable from anywhere from, an quad core i5, just like the new MacBook Pros, to, or let's even say a dual core i5, all the way to a 16 core i9 with every memory option out there, RAM, and a Thunderbolt 3 port right now with the current design of the Mac Mini.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be this and pricing anywhere from $1,000 for the base model to
It wouldn't be $1,000. I think if it was all the way down to a dual core i5, I mean, you're looking at probably the same price that it is now, $499 to $599.
right? Well, you had the Thunderbolt 3, blah blah blah, and the newest. Okay, just in theory, then maybe
Okay.
$600 off. You're sort of so. What the debate is, does it make it a professional machine by adding a stronger processor, more RAM, and a Thunderbolt 3 port? Is that what qualifies as a pro machine?
It did in 2013, except they got no traction from third-party developers for the outside connectivity that the 2013 needed to expand to a real super pro
This only
machine.
had Thunderbolt 2, but Thunderbolt 3 hasn't really taken off that much either. And
It's the problem. It's one of these kind of things where, in order for it to take off, you have to build it, and the problem with the 2013 Mac Pro, it was such a niche market that I don't think people were willing to spend the kind of money to have the outside connectivity to all the various things that they would have to connect to for that. And remember that they were only 1 year away from the last cheese grater Mac Pro at that point, the 2012 Mac Pro. So a lot of the people that already had a 2010 to a 2012 Mac Pro were like, well, we're going to hold off and see if this new Mac Pro takes off. And it never did. So a lot of them are still using those 2010 to 2012 Mac
but
Pros.
It's the question that everybody keeps asking is, what's in a 2013 trash can Mac Pro that doesn't make it Pro? All right. It's got the speed, it's got the Xeon, it's got the memory, it's got the SSD drive or the SSD. It had Thunderbolt 2, which was the fastest drive.
No, I think that was still Thunderbolt 1, which is still pretty fast.
Yeah, I don't remember. But what didn't make it? What did people not like about it, and what would they change? Right now, Apple probably thinks that all the pros feel like they want the cheese grater type of thing again. There's a perception that
I don't think they're going to see that. I don't think those days are gone. I think those days are gone.
There's a perception out there that the only thing that makes a professional machine is being
huge and big
and being able to do it.
Well, you can you can tinker we're starting to see them already, these external cages that connect up via high-speed buses that are external to the computer itself. And
MacBook Pro could do that right now too.
Exactly. Yeah. The problem with the original Mac Pro, the trash can one, was that it was only 1 year removed from the great big machine that everybody already had. And now those are now 6 years old, and they're becoming obsolete. You on a lot of them, you can't even take them to Mojave. You can't take them to the latest operating system. And and for the ones that can, chances are they won't be able to go to the next one. So you're looking at the pro market has to start making a decision, and that decision has to be whether they go to an iMac Pro, whether they go to whatever Apple designates as the next Mac Pro, or whether they go back to Windows. These are the three choices that they're kind of facing right now.
Still, it's the whole thing. It's the iMac Pro really. How much different is an iMac Pro than a high-end 5K iMac? What's the difference?
No idea. Well, we don't know. That's just it. We don't know yet.
There's a few speed things and processor things. That's about it. So again, the question remains: if all they have to do is make the Mac Mini configurable to
Pro levels.
Incoming call from 215.
Alexa. Hang up.
Don't say the number. Blah, 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 blah.
Hang up. It's somebody who it's spam. It's political spam every night. Political.
Oh.
Anyways, I'm not having a pro argument because it annoys me.
Okay.
The pro argument annoys me, but a Mac Mini that would be configurable from a lower end to a higher end with Thunderbolt 3 would be cool, and I think that would sell. And I think, what's the common denominator here, right, is a cheaper MacBook Air, an iPad Mini cheaper, a Mac Mini cheaper. People want to see this. People are like, the biggest complaint about Apple is the price. That's always been the biggest.
But
complaint about
that's not going away. Apple isn't going to majorly reduce their prices because they don't have to.
They don't have to, but that's the biggest complaint. And when people ask us Apple people our opinion of Apple, and we say we love it, go get an Apple, they'll say, but it's so expensive and I could get this and that and blah. So the idea or the fantasy of being able to get these products around, the price or slightly more than maybe a Windows counterpart is attractive.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen. I won't even raise people's expectations along those lines because Apple's not going to do that. I can see them releasing a sub $1,000 laptop along the same lines as the MacBook Air. I can see them releasing a new Mac Mini with the kind of external expansion capability that could turn it into a pro machine. I could see that. I could see a spec bumped iMac. I can see them going to USB-C over Lightning ports. I could even see a new iPad Mini, even though I don't see the point of it.
So you can see all of it.
I can see it. There it is. It's right there, right in front of me.
Everything that Minji Kuo said, it's definitely a feasible option.
Yeah.
We all know that we are all going to be disappointed at some point, at some level on Tuesday. There's no way.
We're going to sit there. Oh man, I thought there was going to be one more thing, and there wasn't.
Do you remember the year that it was a couple of Halloweens ago, and I think they announced the Apple Watch, and we were all expecting new Macs, and Tim Cook's like, "Well, that's it." And
Good night. Yeah.
Then Sia started to sing.
Yeah. And it was like, no. Bring Tim Cook back up here on stage.
They're like, "No MacBook. See ya.
See ya. Gotta go." All right, we got some comments. We got some comments here.
Yeah.
Damon Thornton talking about Mac Pros, and the longer they wait, the more that they might move people to Hackintoshes. I don't think so. Apple has no flagship Mac. That's more or less true. Frank says we thought we were coming on 8. Frank, I said this morning, I said 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I did promise cookies, but there's no cookies.
There's no cookies.
No cookies.
Yeah. So
that's where and I guess we'll find out on Tuesday.
So the question is, what are you buying? That's the question.
Honestly, I mean, I just bought this iMac last year. So
that's last year. So you're old. Come on.
No. Well, actually, I bought it this year. What am I saying? This is a 2017 4.2 gigahertz.
This is 2018,
iMac.
my friend.
I'm sorry.
We are not in 2017 anymore.
I don't care. I'm more than happy with this.
I'm looking
and I still have this Thunderbolt display that I got from you that I'm quite happy with. I had to use. You can't see. Actually, hold on. I'm going to show you something here. All right. Here's the Thunderbolt display. You see that other camera there with that big clip?
Yeah.
You know what that clip is for?
No.
That's to hold the front. That's to hold the front of the glass of that display on there.
Didn't we? But we got I put a new panel on there. I actually put it on.
Yeah, it came off.
Really?
Yeah. No big deal. That's what the clip holds it in place. So I'm good. I'm happy.
It's like
and it's a
50 bucks on
beautiful
Amazon.
it's a beautiful
Something like
display. Yeah,
that. Yeah, I mean it's just a magnet. The magnet should hold it.
yeah, it's fine. It's
All
but
right.
but that's and actually I can let me try something here. If I go to where is it? There I am. I'm going to do a quick switch here. See, there's the camera. That's a 920 as compared to the 930 that I use as my main webcam. But it's there if I ever want it.
I have to
So
get I have to get a webcam. All right. We gotta pick this up or I gotta go soon.
I know I am
yeah.
going to pick up Guy in just a little bit. All right, we've got
Football's coming. Football.
one more thing to talk about. iPhone 10R sells out pre-orders in 4 days. If you still want to get an iPhone 10R on launch date, be prepared to stand in line at your local retail stores because you can no longer pre-order them. I know a couple people who have pre-ordered the 10Rs, and they are actually quite attractive.
The people or the phone?
Well, both. No, the phone. The 10R of course has the non-OLED screen, has a LCD screen, and but it's a high, it's like not that, it's probably better than the one I've got here on my 8, and I'm quite happy with that. And it doesn't have the dual camera.
Not as good as this.
Nope, it's not. But you can't do those fancy 3D Facebook pictures with a 10R. I can't do it with my 8.
You could do it with the 10R,
but not with the 8.
not with the 8.
I'm sad.
Do it with the 10R.
I want to do 3D pictures on
They're
Facebook.
Fun. They're fun.
Honestly, I'm over it. It was like the first couple days, it was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Look at that. It kind of slides in and out. And now I'm like, oh, God, another one. Some guy did a picture of his dog. I was like, really? Really? I don't know. Who would do that? Warren.
But they were fun. They're more fun than emojis or animojis.
Oh, well, how hard is that?
Poor animojis. Does anybody actually use those?
No, I don't.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Of course, I'm on an 8, so maybe I can't do animojis. I don't know. Can you do animojis on an 8?
No. You need a face. You need the face camera. You
Okay.
can do emojis. You can't.
Well,
do
you
animojis.
can through like a third-party emoji program, because I think I have it, but you can't do Apple's like official ones.
Yeah. Well, people in Australia are getting their phones right now, so good day to them.
Yeah, I'm sure there's so many of them that are watching us right now.
They are sleeping right now. Actually, it's tomorrow. It's 7 a.m.
Yeah.
So Tuesday, I think Tuesday we will
See some interesting
10
stuff.
10 o'clock. Join us on the Facebook page. I'm sure we'll have a thread going and chat about how disappointed we are that we didn't get what we wanted.
One of these times, I would love to do like a live cast during that, and just do that right there on the Mac to the Future page. But I'll be at work, so not going to happen. All right, Warren.
All right.
I think that's going to do it for this evening.
Awesome.
So if people wanted to get a hold of you, I ask you this each and every week, how would they do it?
Always on Facebook. Or if you want to find my number, good luck. Come to the Mac to the Future page.
Yeah, that's about it. If you would like to support some of the crazy things that I do, you can go to ko-fi.com, ko-fi.com/MacParrot, or you can become a Patreon. Patreon.com/MacParrot and just give a little bit of money so it helps pay for all the stupid purchases that I make over and over and over again. If you would like to send me an email, you can reach me, guy@mttfgo.com. I'm also MacParrot on the Twitters. And if you want to, you can also send it to guy@mymac.com. I need to change this. And I think that's going to about do it for this evening. I really appreciate the fact that all of you have joined us tonight on the Mac to the Future Go Livecast, even though we are a day, actually 23 hours late. We're 23 hours late.
We are broadcasting closer to the event, just so we don't have to wait so long.
Yeah, that's what it is.
That's what it is.
Is that what it is? I don't think that's what it is.
All right, guys, thank you so much.
Okay, so everyone, thanks for joining us tonight, and we will catch you next week where we will talk about, and it's going to be next Wednesday at 8 p.m. I think David Ginsburg is going to join us as well. We are going to talk about all of the cool things. Yeah, go ahead.
David Ginsburg met Cy Segoen. Just have to
I know. I saw the I saw the Facebook posts on that.
Yeah, we were talking about the show, and then he's like, "Here I am with Cy Segoen," and you're like, "Please don't tell me that you told him that we made fun of his name."
Oh, Gaz and we actually have a commercial, an ad for the My Mac podcast where we talk about Sal Segoen. And see, these are the things that go through my head at any given time, and I can't apologize for them because they are what they are.
You look like a nice guy. I don't know.
Yeah. He seems like, I'm sure he's a lovely, lovely person.
But he is a going.
He's a going. He wasn't a staying. He was a going. All right, everyone.
All right.
Thanks for joining us. Say goodnight, Warren.
Good night, Warren. I'm heading for the close button.
We'll catch you guys next week on the Mac to the Future Go Livecast.